Howdy, everyone. Frankie here, New West Reset. Hello, how's it going? Welcome back. Thank you very much for shooting in, joining a fella here for another one. Another live one, as a matter of fact. New West Reset Live, episode 176 here today. Sunday, June 21st, 2026. We passed 5 p.m. local time, mountain time. As always, we're coming at you from said mountains, the foothills of the Canadian Rocky Mountains, to be exact. Right here in Calgary, Alberta, up in Canada land there, buddy. Not too bad out there today. Warm-ish, plus 15 Celsius. It's around 52, 53 Fahrenheit. Blusteringly windy, though. Very blustery. It's windier than a baked bean taste test out there. Winds are gusting like 30 kilometers per hour. I don't know what that is in miles. Is it 20 miles an hour? Something like that. I don't know. But it's coming from the west, so it's a warm wind, and it's bringing some spring-ish showers, even though today's the first day of summer solstice. Happy summer solstice to all of you. And happy Father's Day, Daddy. Happy Father's Day to all the dads, the papas, daddies, pops, stepdaddies, surrogate daddies, maybe your favorite uncle that raised you, or your granddaddy raised you. I don't know. Happy Father's Day. I called my dad this morning. We chatted on the phone for a couple hours. You know, the usual shooting the shit, chewing the fat, father-son BS, good stuff. Yesterday, we went to antique car show at the Lougheed House. A beautiful old sandstone old worlder with a copper roof. Glorious old estate mansion home that looks like a castle. Anyways, it's got a big park around it. You know, the former estate grounds. It's now a public park. And they had a Ford Model T antique car show there. It was pretty good, man. It was pretty awesome. The Calgary Ford Model T Club, or something, some mouthful like that, had a thing. So we went and checked it out. It was free. Had to dodge a few rain showers here or there, but it's nothing major. There's a museum inside the Lougheed House. I should go in there one day and film the inside. Never done that. I filmed the outside a couple of times on the channel. It's lovely. Never been inside with the camera, so I should try that. But anyhow. Fantastic. Then we went, I took him for lunch, for some burgers. Had some burgers for lunch. Yeah, burgers and milkshakes. It's great. It's fantastic. So I hope all of you had a pleasant Father's Day. Called your daddy or went over to see him, give him a hug or a slap on the back, take him out for beers and wings or burgers or whatever. I don't know, tacos, whatever the case may be, man. Anyways, thank you for joining me. Thanks for winding down your weekend with yours truly here on the live show. My favorite day of the week. Thanks for winding down your weekend here with yours truly. Yes, the Sunday Fun Day show. So links below for everything we're going to cover. We're going to be looking at, this is another in the series here on the live show of the old world on celluloid, where some of these films maybe give us hints of the old world. Not necessarily old films, but films that feature, that take place in an older time, the 40s, 30s, 20s, what have you. This time we're looking at 1996's film, The Phantom. Not the best movie, but I'll get into all of that. But as per usual, links below for everything we're going to cover on the show, as well as how you can get a hold of a fella. All my social media links are down there as well. BitChute, my email, and of course, YouTube and Rumble, always broadcasting simultaneously on YouTube and Rumble for the Sunday live show. And I'm on the Instagram too, people. Also, the link for my second channel, New West Rewind, where you find old vintage footage videos. So yeah, all that good stuff down below. So thank you for being here. Thanks to everybody who's already shared and everything. If you're watching this after the live, appreciate you very much. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. Now let's say hi to everybody in the chat, in the box. See how everyone's doing, how your daddy day weekend is going. Hippie shake. Howdy hippie. Good to see you. Hippie shake in the box. Kathleen Broughton's here from Kentucky. Channel 53 is here as well. And there's Ross, Water the Tree. Hello, good evening. Howdy. Unfree Mason, better known as Cousin Vinny. Cousin Vinny over here. Frankie Fingers says to say hello to Cousin Vinny, huh? So Tommy, where have you been, huh? Oh, I've been watching New West Reset, huh? Oh, you know, it's New West Reset. It's this thing on YouTube. He goes around, he does his boots on the ground thing. He'll tell you. Baja in the box. Good to see you. Jesse Nix is here. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Howdy, howdy. Everybody's doing well. It's windy, but the window's open because, as mentioned, it's warm. It's a warm wind. So the blinds and the curtains are clanging, and you can hear it going. So if it's distracting, give me a heads up there in the box, in the chat. Let me know. Because, yeah. It's nice out. The guy's going to have the window open. Anyway, good to see all of you. Tidal, it's windy over here, Tidal. Very windy here, Tidal. Good to see you. Odin's Raven is here as well. Howdy. Howdy, howdy. New M is in the box. Buonasera, buongiorno. Robert is here. Roberto. Ciao. Good to see all of you. So yeah, we're going to be having a look at this movie. Why, you may ask? Well, recently, Nicolas Cage has been in this Spider-Man TV show called Spider Noir. And it's kind of how it sounds in the title of the show. It's Spider-Man filmed like film noir. It's like a detective whodunit, film noir, 1940s style. Where they all talk like, yeah, see, Capin. And it's not bad. Yeah, it's nerdy comic book superhero stuff. So what? I'm a dork. Anybody who's seen me or met me in person, in real life, they'll tell you, oh yeah, that guy over there is a nerd. Oh yeah, comic books, Star Wars, Star Trek, and all that stuff. Yeah, that guy's a nerd. Anyhow, we're watching the show. And it's available in the option of watching it in black and white, like an authentic film noir, or in this sort of 1940s colorizing where it's enhanced. It's not like today, color video or even color film from the 70s or 80s or what have you. It's sort of amped up to look sort of 1940s, filmed in CinemaScope color or whatever, right? So we watched, a couple episodes in color, a couple in black and white, and decided, you know what? It looks better in black and white. Not that it looked bad in color. It looked fine. It was great. But just helping to capture that essence of the film noir, the black and white was just a better viewing experience. So then we thought to ourselves, hey, wait a second. What other movies aren't bad, aren't necessarily fantastic? Because, it's Nicolas Cage. You either get one of two Nicolas Cages, generally, right? You either get very excellent actor, Oscar nominated, and maybe even Academy Award winning Nicolas Cage, serious actor, or you get Nicolas Cage bouncing off the walls, completely corny, hamming it up, overselling it, out of control Nicolas Cage. And very few in between. But this role in this show is good for him because he's got to be a bit of both. He's got to be kind of serious, playing the drunkard, down on his luck detective, which is the alter ego of his version of Spider-Man, or the Spider. It's kind of wacky, out of control, but and a crime fighter and a vigilante, but is also still a drunkard or hungover. So it's a pretty good vehicle for Nicolas Cage because he gets to swing that whole pendulum of his acting range. Anyway, so this led us to what other movies are kind of not too bad, or shows or whatever, that we could watch in black and white instead of color. We landed on 1996's The Phantom with Billy Zane. Another candidate was The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, but we decided to go with, because The Mummy's a good movie. The Phantom, it's lukewarm, right? There's certain things about it that are admirable. Billy Zane does a lot of his own stunts, which is pretty good. And mind you, this is the 90s, so it's not the level of the newer, crazy, out of control CGI slogfest Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, right? I mean, the first few of those were pretty good. Avengers, the first Iron Man, first Captain America. Nice. Then they start becoming, out of control. Almost as out of control as Nicolas Cage. Anyhow, we watched the movie. It's not bad. I mean, if you're a rainy Sunday afternoon and all your laundry and housekeeping chores or whatever, grocery shop is all done, and you're like, you know what, it's crappy out. I'm just going to sit inside. Everything's done. Rather than reading a good book, I'm going to just watch something where I can just kind of, I don't know. It's so bad it's good, but it's not even that bad. Anyway, I would recommend black and white. Give it a shot. But of course, me, with the eyes that I have, these past 5-6 years or so, I'm noticing things in movies and television shows all the time, whether it's stuff from the 70s, 80s, 90s, new stuff. And that's kind of why I started this series here on the live show. I'm seeing, traces of the old world on celluloid or on digital film. I think often these films may hold some interesting clues to times of the past. You know what I'm saying? Bradley Johnson is here. Good evening. Good evening. Hello. Good to see you. So again, not the greatest show, but it was good. So it's a tan and black film. Sort of. It's not quite that sepia tone. It's, warm black and white. It's not that bluish white. It's not LED light bulb white. It's old school, round, incandescent light bulb white. Yeah, that looks good. I think there's a lot of movies that are kind of on the borderline. They're a 5 out of 10. You're like, yeah, it's fine. It didn't make me do backflips or nothing. But, it didn't make me throw up in my mouth a bit either. So I guess we're, a 5 out of 10, right? Average. Meh. It was meh. But you switch it to black and white, and all of a sudden it's a completely different ball game. You know what I'm saying? It's a completely different ball game. KJ Kinley Jackson, that's the best sentiment. Thank you very much. Love you all, and happy Daddy-O's Day. Right on, Daddy-O. Absolutely. So I thought what I'd do today, like we do with this series, is we'll have a look at a couple of clips. I'll show you what caught a guy's eye. We'll look into some of that, take a mid-show break, and when we come back, we'll have a look at some old photos of either some of the locations or buildings or subject matter in regards to this 5 out of 10 movie that if you make it black and white, it jumps to a 6.5 out of 10. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. You lock it, put it in your pocket, and take it straight to the bank. Put it in the old safety deposit box. And then take that key, and you lock that, and you put that in your pocket. You bury it under a tree. Then you got to make a map. Put the X marks the spot and where to get the key buried in the tree. Take to the bank to open the safe deposit box. Take out that guarantee. But I think you get what I'm babbling on about. Anyway, thanks for being here. What? Wait, what? What? Hello, howdy, howdy. Old World Michigan is here. So let's start things out here right out of the gates with the very first clip, again from The Phantom, 1996. Actually, before we even do that, let me just quickly see what Wikipedia has to say about The Phantom 1996 film. Let's just quickly have a peekaboo at Wikipedia. If not for anything else, at least it's good for film synopses. Although I guess a guy could go to IMDb, but whatever, it's fine. So The Phantom's a 1996 superhero film, and kind of before all the schlock. It was sandwiched in between the Tim Burton Batman with Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, which was very good, and Batman Returns that had Michelle Pfeiffer as the Catwoman, Danny DeVito as the Penguin. The Penguin was weird, but Michelle Pfeiffer was excellent as Catwoman. So this was sandwiched between that and all this new Marvel schlock with the CGI stuff. Although, again, the actors are doing a lot of their own stunts, wire work, driving the cars, stuff like that. A lot of these guys are still doing that, guys and gals. But Billy Zane was he's doing pretty good on this, even though he's not the best actor. He was in their Titanic movie. Anyways, it stars Billy Zane. There he is, seemingly immortal crime fighter, and his battle against all forms of evil. The Phantom also stars Treat Williams, also not the greatest. Christy Swanson, again, I think you're seeing a theme here. That's why the black and white helps. Catherine Zeta-Jones, who normally is hot or cold, but in this, James Remar, he's always solid. Come on. Ajax from Warriors, solid. And Patrick McGowan, he's great. He was in that British show, The Fugitive. Was that? No. What was it? Where he's the prisoner. Plus, he's done other stuff. So in 95 to 96, they filmed October to February. It was released June 7th. It received mixed reviews from film critics. Despite financial failure in its theatrical release, the film has enjoyed success. VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray developed a cult following. Cult following is a nice, polite way of saying, it's not the best, but some folks like it. Maybe you smoke some wacky tobacco, or I don't know, have a couple of shots of tequila and then have some popcorn and watch it for shits and giggles. I don't know. Anyways, the plot is intriguing, but really what the show is about is some of the locations, but we'll get into that in a sec. But the early 16th century, a young boy helplessly witnesses his father being deleted by Kabai Sang, the vicious pirate leader of the Sang Brotherhood, who attacked their ship. The boy jumps overboard and is washed ashore on Bangala, an Asian island, where local tribesmen find him and take him to their village. There he is given the skull ring, apparently for absolutely no reason. Here you go. Here's just a sacred amulet jewelry thing. Anyways, he swears to devote his life to resisting vice and enforcing virtue. And as an adult, adopts the identity of the Phantom, a masked avenger. The role of the Phantom is passed on from father to son through 400 years, leading to people believing a single immortal figure. What if you don't want to do it? What if it's kind of like your dad owns a dry cleaning business, or you don't want to take over Dad, I don't want to take over some dry cleaning business. It's not like it was in 1962, Dad, when you opened it and you could buy a house and support a family on a dry cleaning business. Are you kidding? It's going to be a wash for me, man. I can't take over that. You know what I mean? That's why my daddy, all my aunties and all my uncles moved off the family farm. We don't want a farm. But somehow they're able to go past this thing, father, son, over 400 years. You know how many generations that is? At roughly 20 years per generation? It's a lot. I don't feel like doing math right now, but it's a lot. It's like 50 generations, isn't it? Plain Spoken Jane over on Rumble. Howdy. Hello. Thank you. Good to see you. Not letting you chime in on the Hootubes. What's going on? It's not cool. Howdy, Ryan. Good to see you. That's shenanigans. Maybe try a refresh. Sorry about that. Or just, go ahead and shoot on over to Rumble and follow me over on Rumble too, just in case something ever happens over here. So in 1938, Kit Walker, the 21st Phantom. Math doesn't seem to, if it's 400 years, it's only been 20 before him. It means I guess you got to be 50 before you get the ring. I guess you retire early. You don't retire at 65 or even Freedom 55. You retired 50. It's not bad. Probably if you play your cards right, got another 50 years in you, or 50 years of retirement. Got built up some good karma, fighting crime and forcing virtue and whatnot. Anyways, the 21st Phantom finds Quill leading a group of grave robbers in the jungle. They're searching a burial place for one of the skulls of Tuganga. By the way, all of these names and terms are all completely made up. It's mumbo jumbo, of course. Anyways, which grants its owner a tremendously destructive power. Yeah, he saves the native boy, saves the day, and they fight in the jungle, and the bad guys flee and live to fight another day. So then he's got to secretly and covertly follow them back to the United States in his alter ego. So New York City, Kit's college girlfriend, Diana Palmer, is a frequent traveler whose uncle, Dave Palmer, is the famous owner of the World Tribune newspaper. The paper is investigating power-hungry businessman Xander Drax, a shady character with a reputation for dealing with criminals. Palmer has uncovered Drax's connection to a mysterious spider web symbol, which he traces back to the Bengala jungle. He sends Diana to investigate, but makes the mistake of telling New York's treacherous police commissioner, who is allied with Drax, of Diana's trip. So, of course, pirates and hijinks ensue. The Phantom's got to save the day, but it turns out that his alter ego and this young lady are formerly acquainted. So I guess it really is a small world of all the dames, of all the pirate ships I got to rescue. You have to walk into my, or whatever. Play it again, Sham, or what, But it's a movie, and it's, based on a comic book and a series of pulp dime novels, too, so that's cool. I think they used to have old radio serial broadcasts of this thing, too, back in the day, The Phantom, kind of like The Shadow and stuff. I dig that kind of corny 40s stuff. Anyways, back in New York, now dressed as his civilian self, Kit, what a name, meets with David Palmer at the World Tribune and once again meets with Diana, who has mixed feelings about him since his sudden disappearance several years ago. Diana's would-be suitor Jimmy Wells mentions he has seen one of the skulls in the Museum of World History, which is sort of fictitious. It's basically a fictionalized version of the Museum of Natural History in New York. So Kit and Diana hurry there. Drax and his men capture them, steal the second skull, and unite it with the first, revealing the location of the third skull on an uncharted island in the Ataman Sea, known as the Devil's Vortex. So scary, kids. Anyways, she manages to escape in the Phantom. They evade police outside the museum. And then there's some shenanigans that go on later on in his office building when he's, conniving and scheming. But of course, as you would guess, in the end, Phantom saves the day. So production, here's where we get into some of the locations. So rumors of a Phantom film adaptation first started to circulate when director Sergio Leone expressed interest in the property in an interview. Imagine that. That would have been great. Joe Dante also, that would have been pretty good. So filming began in 95, October, Los Angeles, Greystone Park. They used the exterior of Palmer's English-style manor. The mansion of Playboy magazine's Hugh Hefner, a longtime fan of the Phantom, was used. They also filmed at the Los Angeles Zoo to pass it off as the old New York City Central Park Zoo. Then they did some backlocked shooting for old New York to get the 1938 version of New York. Then they went to Thailand to film some of the jungle scenes where there's a rope bridge, very Indiana Jones-ish. Angel Dreams is here. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Howdy, Red Brick. Hello, hello. Oh, there's Plain Spoken Jane. Now, see, now you're coming up. Now we see you. Now we see you. Pretty good. So then get this. So the New York offices of Xander Drax were constructed on stage 6 right away. If you watch the movie, and we'll have a look at that scene. I was like, wait, they just built this as a stage set? I don't think so. It looks like the interior of a marvelous old world building with the marble and the brass and, the artwork and the vaulted ceilings and all that stuff, right? Anyway. So also filming in Queensland took the production to the Brisbane City Hall, where the interior lobby was redecorated to resemble a New York museum. Yeah, because it's a fictitious museum, where Kit Walker finds one of the 3 skulls of Tuganda. Manor Apartment Hotel in Brisbane was also used as a stand-in for a New York skyscraper. Yeah, the exterior of the supposed film set that they built, the interior they built. So we'll have a look at those buildings, but then I found something rather interesting. So on the final day of shooting, the production relocated to Los Angeles, California to complete a scene that would ultimately end up being deleted from the final cut, where Phantom wrestles a lion. Billy Zane fighting a lion. They filmed it and then they cut it. Oh, man. Many scenes developing the romance between Phantom and Diana Palmer were cut in order to make the film more fast-paced. An action scene featuring Phantom fighting a snake was also cut. Come on, man. Sounds like you cut some good stuff. A scene with the Phantom and his horse, Hero, rearing in the sunset was also cut from the film. What? Doing it Lone Ranger style? Where the horse rears up? And the silhouette? Got the sunset? Come on, in the background. But it was shown at the end of the 1996 A&E documentary, The Phantom Comic Strip Crusader. Oh, so they made a little documentary about the character of the Phantom, and they showed it there. Great. Anyway, and the rest is, it's linked to the original source material and, reception, and they had plans to do a bunch of different stuff with it that never quite materialized because it flopped. Because, again, it was all right. But, again, switch it over to black and white. It bumps it up a notch and a half or 2. You know what I'm saying? Bradley Johnson says Playboy House had tunnels to other houses around the neighborhood. Well, down in there, they have the grotto down in there, too. I hadn't heard the tunnels thing, but I am not surprised. One bit, Brad. Not one bit. Jesse says, can you imagine a Zoom call with all of us live broadcasting on YouTube or Rumble? I think it would be great entertainment. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jesse says, I think my mouth would get Frankie banned then. Nah, well, maybe on YouTube. But Rumble's not a problem. You can say pretty much whatever you want in Rumble. Rumble's fine. Absolutely fine. Oh, is that what it was initially? It was naughty words, Jane. Plain spoken Jane saying naughty words. Yeah, that's not me. I don't have there is an option in your channel's studio, the YouTube creator studio, where you can put in certain words that are naughty words or whatever. I don't do any of that. So yeah, YouTube is probably saying, hey, take it easy over here, yeah? Take it easy. Anyway, now let's get into that first clip here. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. And again, as usual, let me know if you can see and hear it okay. Let me know in the chat, in the box. This first one's...
Something's happening.
Let me just pause it for a moment here. Treat Williams just chewing up the scene with his overacting. But anyway, we're not here for the acting. We're here for the buildings, exteriors and interiors that are going on in the background of the scene. So don't let Treat Williams hamming it up distract you. It could be very distracting. But anyhow, this is the interior of Brisbane City Hall, the lobby, that was redressed to look like a museum, a fictitious museum. Why they had to fly all the way to Brisbane, Australia? Crikey, I've got no idea, mate. Sorry, that was wrong. And it was a terrible accent. That's racist! Anyway.
This is it. It's happening, right?
Look at that floor pattern, eh? Now that they didn't redress, that's original in their floor there.
Here and now.
Staircase in the background. Of course, all the arched doorways leading into and out of this lobby area. Again, the huge vaulted ceilings. Treat Williams' mouth wide open, catching flies as he's doing his best at being just the worst. They have a room divider in front of it for some reason, but it looks like there's a lovely old fireplace coming down at the bottom of that lovely turned spindle and railing staircase. Then you see there's an upper mezzanine floor up there just in the upper right-hand side. And of course, everything's, gold and carved wood. That might be a doorway rather than a fireplace, actually, now that I'm looking at it. But either way, it's super fancy with a little urn design right in the middle on the top there above the doorway. We see that a lot on the tops of buildings. Beep. By the way, I looked into that map on the wall because at first I thought, oh, wow, they really given up something here. But this map was actually apparently done by the prop department to look like a 1930s map. So it's an embellished, fictitious, stylized fake map of what the prop department or the set design department or whatever, probably the prop department, thought that 1930s maps would look like. Because, 1996, they couldn't just go on the goggle machine and find an image of a 1930s map. They'd have to get off their keisters and go to a library or a museum, ironically enough, considering they're dressing this set to look like a museum. But yeah, apparently that's a fictitious made-up map that they just made up. It's just a phony map the prop department made for the movie to look like a 1930s style map for the time period of the film. It's because it's based in 1938, this film. At least that's what they say. I zoomed in on it and I researched it, and that's what I found from some kind of film geek website online. That it was an interview from somebody with the associated with the film. They were talking about how they dressed this set, which is the city hall, to look like a museum. So yeah, that's kind of a nothing burger, the map. It's kind of a nothing burger. Again, it was the stuff in the background that I'm like, wait. And then I thought to myself, well, why choose that building? Why, why fly all the way to Brisbane, Australia from Los Angeles? Is it because you were already filming in Asia, in the jungles? So, like, why not? We're like 3/4 there, bud. We might as well just keep her going. Like, right in Los Angeles itself, I'm sure there's buildings that they could dress to look like a museum. I don't know. Just seems funny. But anyways, I asked myself why, and then I realized upon looking into this photo, this building, I'm just gonna pull up a few photos of the Brisbane City Hall here. Then I realized, oh, this is why. This place is pretty magnificent. Brisbane, Australia. I'm not too familiar with Australia in general. Sydney, of course. Melbourne, crikey, for sure there, mate. But, Perth, Campbell, to some extent. Brisbane, I know a little bit because Vaughan is from up in that area. And really, you can go Brisbane to Sydney to Melbourne, flying. Boop, boop, boop. It's not super close, but it's close enough where you could fly. It's not going to take you like 18 hours or anything like that. What's going on? Whose birthday is it? Really? Is it really? Channel 53 says, happy birthday, Babylon Fox. That's Stephanie. Babylon Fox in the box with the birthday. Really? Well, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Fantastic. 29 years young, I'm guessing. Good stuff. Seriously, happy birthday. So as mentioning, then I looked it up and I'm like, oh, that's why. Why not film here? Look at this place. Again, admittedly, not that familiar with Brisbane, so I had no idea what I was about to see when I looked up with their old city hall, which still stands, by the way, at least as far as I know. Oh, that's why. I mean, it looks like a Greco or Greco-Roman style, but then this tower is just, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. 29 also, says Kathy Broughton. Want me to sing to you? Oh, Lord. Lord help you. Lord help you. You can't be talking to me. Why would you subject everyone, including yourself, to that, especially on your born-in day? Sweet baby Jeebus. What's this up here? Looks like the top of the Stanley Cup. That's our big hockey trophy up here, eh? What's that? I don't know. Looks like they just have one digit for each hour. So I guess you get a pass on that. Of course, the shell there, that rosette floral design. Massive arch and these pillars. I mean, look, let's just benefit of the doubt. This guy's 6 feet tall, including his little chapeau here, his little bowler hat. So then these pillars are going to be 15 to 18 feet tall. Even if it's put up in sections, which it looks like it could be. It's no easy task. I managed to find some elevation. These aren't blueprints, they're just elevation schematics. I'm no draftsman, so I don't know the official term, but that's what it says. Elevation of main facade to Albert Square, Brisbane City Hall, and Municipal Building. This has got to have some kind of winged lady with chariot with 2 horses on there pulling. Why not? Just put it on there. Just put it on there. This is spectacular. Remember that pattern on the floor in the scene from that little clip we watched? That's what's underneath this. This is the backside, and this is a slice of the pie, if you will. Cross-section of the dome. Cross-sections through Great Hall and Council Chamber. So your Council Chamber, Great Hall. What do you need this for down under? Where do you need this anywhere? With a freaking pipe organ, by the by. Clearly lower levels down here and big stairs you got to go up. Doors down here. And then and a sub-basement under the basement. And what's all this represent? Again, I don't know. I'm not a draftsman or whatever. So, I mean, how far down does this go? And they're just like, oh, those are support pillars. They're butt. Even if they are, that's no small feat to do that in this time period. Here's the grand opening, April 8th, 1930. Look at the size of this thing. Again, it's not Sydney or Melbourne. Again, no offense to Brisbane, but it's Brisbane. Is it the capital? I don't know. It's in Queensland, but so's Sydney, isn't it? Again, pardon my Canadian naivete. We're very sheltered up here, Canada there, eh, buddy? But I mean, you see the size of this place. Like, what's going on here, man? And beautiful. Go opulent, man. Look at, they're just stuffed in here, too. This is probably the biggest thing that's happened in Brisbane when they opened it. And like I said, still standing. Some kind of red stone, reddish stone. Limestone, I'm guessing. I don't know. Oh, Bradley says he just turned 40 on June 3rd. 11 anniversary. Oh, yeah, your 51st. I mean, your 40th and 11th. That's right. Happy belated to you, sir. So here's the inside. The pipe organ. So it's no wonder they wanted to film in here. There's that pattern. There's where we filmed. It's actually the Great Hall. Or, sorry, the former photo is the Great Hall. It's actually the lobby. Why they filmed here and not here, I don't know. Maybe because they weren't allowed to get in there and dress it. Maybe it was too hard to conceal the pipe organ. I don't know. I mean, that whole scene, I clipped it down, but that whole scene is only like 6 or 7 minutes. But look at all of this. What I'm guessing is marble of some kind of stone. Anyways, I'm guessing either that or it's a painted effect, what's called trompe-l'oeil. Trompe-l'oeil. That's fancy French talk for fool the eye. A painted effect to trick you into thinking that it's stone. But it's not. And, you know, you just sound all fancy and sophisticated when you pronounce it trompe-l'oeil. Fool your eye. Ooh la la.
I can't understand a word you said the whole time.
Did you eat some peanut butter or something?
Yeah, you sound like a dog with peanut butter on the roof of your mouth.
I think what you are hearing is my accent. I am French.
Again, the huge arches up here in the coffered ceiling. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. All right, so the second clip we're going to look at takes place in the bad guy's office. And this is what really, that's right, ooh la la. I would say so. Very unique inside, beautiful, but kind of overkill, isn't it? For, I mean, yes, it's their city hall, but I mean, wow, there are Capitol buildings in the US and Canada that are not as large and opulent as that. Never mind city halls. Anyway, let's have a look at the second clip. And again, this one takes place in the bad guy's office. I clipped it down a little, but again, ignore really what the actors are doing or trying to do. Actors. So we're looking at the stone effect on the walls, the marble or whatever that may be, just like we just saw in the City Hall photographs of the interiors. The millwork, the flooring, all the woodworking and everything, the elevators, the elevator lobby. These old buildings had beautiful, opulent lobbies that had a separate, smaller elevator lobby. You come in the main entrance, and you're in the lobby of the building. And then there's a separate, off the main lobby, smaller, another lobby that's just the elevators. Just great stuff going on in the background. And again, let me know if you can see and hear everything okay in the chat.
Oh, Mr. Drax, I made all the arrangements.
Boom, right away the floor, right? That's going to jump out like a slap in the face to, I'm sure, all of us. Very reminiscent of the square and compass guys, those Freemason fellers. The black and white checkerboard pattern floor done in a diamond pattern. Thank you, Kathy. 5x5. Appreciate you. Thank you. Freemasons, too, depending on whether it's the, the Scottish Rite or what have you, they'll do a blue and white checkerboard rather than the black and white. It's two sides of the same coin, really. But again, look at above the elevator. Look at all the millwork around the walls, all of the gold leafing, all of the details. Now, this is what they're telling us is a set. This interior and all of this opulence and design with the leaded glass and the mirrors flanking either side of that old elevator. This is all a set. This was all just built on a soundstage, they're telling us.
You're getting a full police escort.
Excellent. Have you heard the exciting news?
No.
We're going to the Devil's Vortex.
Drax, Phantom's in the building.
What?
I saw him with my own eyes.
Alert your officers.
There he is. Ajax from Warriors. He's great in this. He's good. He's the raspy voice and just his chiseled features. He plays a tough guy or now that he's a bit older, obviously, than this. This is 1996. So now he plays like a wise old geezer that's been there, done that, and got some wise words for you, kid. Almost like a Clint Eastwood type. But if you don't listen to his wise words and sage advice, he'll still rap your ears for you or thump your skull for you or something. But yeah, he always plays a detective or a thug or a cop or a sheriff. He's good. Even if he's in a crappy or meh-ish movie, he's usually pretty good. He doesn't usually phone it in or ham it up too much.
Tell them there's a madman on the loose. He's armed and extremely dangerous. Shoot on sight.
Don't worry about a thing. I'll take care of it.
What about the girl?
Bring her. She's our phantom insurance.
She's our phantom insurance. Yeah, he almost. Why didn't you just look right in the camera's lens when you said that there, Treat Williams? You overacting. I know you're trying to do it maybe 40 style, where they talk a little bit more like this in the movies, see? But not everybody on set is playing it like that, so maybe that's partly the director's fault. Be like, hey, everybody, if you can't do the 40s talk, then let's not do it, and we'll wipe it right now.
Maybe security.
Look at that. You kidding me? They just decided they're going to build that in a movie set because they wanted this bad guy's hideout at the top of this building to look all 1938 fancy. And again, and behind that brass or whatever that is supposed to be of the elevator floor indicator, the wall, it's all marble. Baja says those accents are weird when I watch old baseball, especially, right? Yes, the old play-by-play radio guys from the old ball games. Yeah. Mickey Mantle set to come to take the plate now. Or whatever. No, Mickey Mantle was what, a pitcher? See, I screwed it up. I don't know anything about baseball. But you get what I'm saying. Here comes the windup and the pitch. A swing and a wide miss. Listen to him now, and you're like, what are these guys hopped up on back then? Laughing gas? No, that makes it super mellow. What would it be? They're hopped up on like nitroglycerin or something. Again, more checkered floors, more walls that look like marble or stone, massive vaulted ceilings with arched doorways, millwork, fancy galore millwork everywhere, little dental moldings, frescoes on the walls, coffered ceiling. But they're saying this is a movie set built on the soundstage. Seems like a lot of bother, doesn't it? I don't know. I did seek other sources and said, yeah, no, this was, the movie set. It was on the soundstage. They built it all for the film. Because then I thought, well, okay, maybe it was used in another film, some other fancier film, and whoever the set designers and all the artists and carpenters and everybody that put it all together did such a great job that they just keep it, right? And it comes apart in panels or what have you. It's modular. And they can, store it away, pull it out when, okay, we need something that's roughly 1930s, 20s, 40s, somewhere in that, for some fancy bank or some fancy office or some fancy schmancy hotel or whatever. But no, apparently they built it fresh. Plain spoken Jane says Coke, a cola. Yeah, well, yeah, it was back in the 1890s, 1880s, 1890s. That's what they used to put in Coca-Cola. But they used to put all kinds of stuff and all kinds of crazy stuff. I did a live stream a few months ago where it had calling cards of people that were selling health tonics. It had like heroin in it and all kinds of crazy stuff, man. Ground up dead mouse. I don't know. Eye of newt. But some of it was, if you could give it to your kids, 10 and over, 10-year-old kid, they got a bad cough. Yeah, just give some of this cough syrup with heroin in it. It's like, what? Anyways, they used the Colonial Mutual Life building in that scene that's not in that scene, but the exterior for that building that was in another scene that I just didn't bother with because I found photos of it anyways. So again, this is in Australia. Brisbane, Australia. Not the best photos because they're super tiny. This is sort of the back of it. This is also the back, but a slightly different angle. Look at this beauty behind it, by the by. Close-up of some of the, I think we got a window washer here. I hope so. These are close-up of some of the embellishments. Gargoyles and lions, and of course arches with columns that are all carved and whatnot. There it is today. It's now the Manor Apartments. Manor Apartment Hotel, Brisbane. Come on, man. Yeah, no wonder they wanted to use this as a 1930s New York skyscraper exterior. This is the side that they actually use, this entrance here. So they show this narrow face. I think they shoot it at a slight angle, so you get a little bit of this. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't, whatever side. This thing is crackers, man. And they hang their crappy signage here, but at one time these large arched doors, but just the details wonderful. Lions and gargoyles and bijou balconies and columns. Donkulous. Again, there's that other little one. This one behind it's a totally different building, but it's exquisite as well. This thing's a behemoth. They just shot a little bit from one side just for a quick boom. There, this is the bad guy's hideout. Well, the bad guy's office in the penthouse up here. And this is the entrance that they use in the film. So that scene with the interiors, it's the outside of what's supposed to be the same building. But they used a real building, so they say, for the exterior shots, but they built an entire set on a soundstage for the interior shots. Which, you know what? Sorry, call me crazy, but I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it. Beautiful old world building, says Hippie Shake. I agree. I agree. Kathy Broughton says impressive. Oh, yeah, Ryan's talking about the old medicine bottles. He says, I love them old bottles and labels. Very interesting. Yeah, the old labels from, say in and around 1900 and before. Basically, once, medicine is standardized through that whole system, with some of those influential families. But prior to all of that, right, that's rolled out around 1920, right, just after the whole Spanish flu and WW1 and all of that, right? So if you can find old pill bottles, medicine bottles, health tonics that have the old labels on them. But again, the calling cards that the salesman would use to bring in to talk to the chemist or the pharmacist, here, I represent such and such company, and would you like us to, we would like to sell our wares in your establishment. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those are cool too. And yeah, the bottles themselves, the blue glass, the brown glass, the shades of green. Hippie Shake says, I remember seeing the old bottles with marble inside as the stopper. Like a marble stopper? Wow. I've seen where the stopper is glazed porcelain or terracotta or something. And the stopper actually has a hole drilled through it too, and it's got a metal device, metal wiring that goes through it, so you can open and close the stopper on a metal sort of caged hinge system. I've seen some that the canister and the stopper are crystal, but then the stopper itself's lined with cork. Yeah. Yeah. Channel 53 says I low-key collect glass bottles just when I see them. Yeah, if you're out and around and doing something or whatever, and you see one, some guy's selling one for a couple of bucks, or you're out doing something, and who knows, maybe you're out hiking somewhere, but there's supposed to be some old cabin out here, and then you find it, and scattered about are old tin cans and stuff. You never know. You find some old bottles. Hell, Ross, Water the Tree, finds that all the time. Not around old cabins, just around old places that he suspects were former estate homes or old world structures that were destroyed prior to the reset in some kind of event, some kind of cataclysm. Which I see the same thing here in Calgary, Alberta, up in Canada land, and many of you, I'm sure, where you live have seen the same thing. But Ross finds stuff all the time, bricks, bottles. He says, I know of about 10 bottle dumps. Wow. I recently stumbled upon something online when I was researching an old building here that once I get some consistent enough days in a row where it hasn't rained, I'm going to go out, heel tone it out to this place and do some boots in the ground. It's basically a wooded area along the river that apparently used to have a fruit orchard there. It was like a pioneer settlement farm going back to the 1870s, 1880s, apparently. But they did something with an old building, and now it's associated with this area. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag because it's something I'm working on. It's going to be coming up here later on in the summertime, but kind of that same idea, Ross. Anyway, where are we at here? An hour. Perfect. Beautiful. What do you say we take a mid-show break? When we come back, we'll have a look at some old photos that I found of not the interiors of a building that they say was used in the film, The Phantom, but I think that perhaps could have been. And it's not in Brisbane, but it's close enough. Anyway, we'll get into it when we get back. Dragon Sage, impeccable timing. Dragon Sage is in the box. Howdy. We're going to take a mid-show break. Got some old footage of New York, considering New York, where the film takes place, New York / Australia, where it's filmed. Got some old film for you here. This is actually a little different. It's old-timey vintage footage of New York. This is 1929, so, roughly 10 years before this film takes place. But this is it's footage of a dirigible flyover of New York City. So it's a good one. 4 minutes and 9 seconds, 409. She's real fine, my 409. There, that's all singing you're going to get out of me. Anyway, 4 minutes, 9 seconds, featuring the music of our friend in the box with the great timing, Dragon Sage and his band, The Sex Witch. 4 minutes, 9 seconds. Stick around. We'll see you on the other side. Smoke them if you got them. Put your headphones on. Turn up to 11 for Canadian rock and roll. And we'll see you on the other side of 4 minutes, all right? Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Sweet, beautiful dreamer, in the starlit temple of love, silent thought and memory, drifting so high above. She wrapped me up within her arms, comfort me with kindness. charms dressed in the sky, sky, sky. Dressed in the sky, sky, sky. Oh my Lord, oh mercy me. Parting veils for blind to see. She looked my soul right in the eye. Was so beautiful and free. She wrapped me up within her arms, covered me with kindness and charms, dressed in the sky, sky, sky. 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 But you tell me that there's no heaven. I've been there and way, way down below. Out of 10, she has 11. Don't bother asking if you don't already know. She wrapped me up within her arms, covered me with kindness and charms, dressed in the sky, sky, sky. 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 Dressed in the sky, sky, sky.
All right, and we are back. Welcome back, everyone. Frankie here, New West Reset. Thank you very much for shooting in, joining a fella here for another one, another live one. New West Reset Live, episode 176 here today, Sunday, June the 21st. Happy Father's Day to you. Happy summer solstice to all of you as well. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Lovely day here today. Thanks for winding down your weekend with yours truly on the Sunday Funday Show. Woo! If you haven't already, please do all the things to help a fella out. Appreciate that. Thanks to everybody who's already shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Links below for how you can get a hold of a fella as usual, as well as everything that we've covered the top half of the show. And for this episode, we're back in our series of the old world on celluloid. We've been looking at the kind of okay film, The Phantom from 1996. It's better if you watch it in black and white, which is how I came into this whole thing. And of course, with, eyes that see more clearly now than so many years ago. When it comes to old world stuff, I think a lot of times these films may hold some interesting clues to times of the past in the background, old buildings or interior shots or stuff like that. So we've looked at that quite a few times here on the channel already with the series. And this one's The Phantom, as mentioned, from 1996. The top half of the show, we just looked into a little bit about the film itself and then had a look at a couple of short clips. Now we're going to look at some photos that I found that I think would have been worthy of filming those interior scenes. And I suspect that maybe they did. Principal photography was in LA and then down in Asia somewhere, or Indonesia or something, I can't remember, or Fiji or something. And then Brisbane, Australia, which isn't too far from Sydney, which isn't too far from Melbourne. And I found an interesting place in Melbourne there in southern Australia. But before I get into all that, what did you think of that old footage? The dirigible flyover of New York City, 1929. If you like that kind of old-timey film and vintage footage, I have a second channel called New West Rewind. Link below for that as well. Every Saturday, I upload old film put to music like that. You'll see that there every Saturday. So if you haven't already, please head on over there and subscribe and do all that other good stuff. Appreciate it. Yeah. Ryan says from above, it looks like a circuit board. Indeed, a lot of it does. Some of the angles of some of the buildings are great too, because at one point, as the blimp's coming in, the dirigible, I should say, the airship, it's different than a blimp. Anyway, as it's coming in, they go from looking straight down on top above all of the tall buildings to, they're only maybe 50 feet above them. So you can see them from a really cool angle. You can see the front of them, but also still a little bit of the tops, and the street down below. So yeah, I thought it was really, really excellent footage. Yeah, back in time for sure. Dragon Sage says we like our early 70s music. It has to breathe, absolutely. Yeah, kind of a pseudo ballad-esque. Still has that nice sort of crunchy sound. And by crunchy, I mean as a compliment. Gritty, raw, authentic sound. Not overproduced. Yeah. But it's kind of a pseudo ballad. It's not too cornball. It's still sweet, but the lyrics are more than just surface level, cornball, lovey-dovey. It's nice. So I've been featuring Dragon Sage's band, The Sex Witch, for the mid-show breaks here on the live show for a couple of weeks now. So if you want to see some of the others, you can go back. I think this is the fourth one now, the third or the fourth. But then you can also check them out at the Sex Witch are on YouTube, and of course Dragon Sage's channel on YouTube. So Sage, I do have a slightly different version for you, just like last week. It's similar to this, but it's same but different. So anyway, there you go. All right, enough screwing around now. Let's get back to brass tacks. So I found an excellent website, and I've linked it below, but what I was able to do is actually download some of these photos so that we can zoom in on them a little bit better. But the website is actually from the Victoria Museum collection online. Again, link in the description for that. These are photos of the Colonial Mutual Life Building and Assurance Building in Melbourne, Australia. Not to be confused with the Colonial Mutual Assurance Life Building in Brisbane, Australia. Brisbane, Australia. Where the exterior shots of the bad guy in the movie was filmed. Anyways, it was built between the years 1892 and 1896. Again, links below for where I found these. Then it was sold in 1923 and then unfortunately demoed in 1960. So this one, unlike the other, no longer exists. However, the one in Brisbane was converted to a a hotel type thing, hotel apartments. Whereas this one, it seems like it always stayed as a mutual assurance company, life insurance company building, and therefore maybe a little bit easier to give it the old heave ho. I do not know. But yes, I agree. Channel 53 says the 60s were brutal. Yeah, the 50s, they kind of started, right? But the 60s and 70s, they really got out of hand with knocking down a lot of these old beauties. So I didn't grab every photo in the file that's available online. So again, link below. I would encourage you, if you want to check it out. This is the laying of the memorial stone on the 6th of March, 1893, of the building in Melbourne for the Equitable of USA, now owned by the Colonial Mutual Life Assurance Society Limited. So for the Equitable of USA, but now owned by the Colonial Mutual Life. So was this Equitable of USA company the lender for the money to build this? Are they the company that founded, quote unquote, founded this building, what they called this building, and then sold it to these guys? I don't know. Because, I mean, I don't see anything on the stone itself. So, I mean, they've got this labeled as Melbourne for this building, but I don't know. It'd be the first time a photo has been mislabeled. That's all I'm saying. But here's the exterior of the building. So not quite to the scale of the one in Brisbane as well that still stands, except for this massive, huge, beautiful arched entryway with the pillars right here. It's quite exquisite. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it. It's a lovely old worlder, but I could see why they used the exterior of its cousin in Brisbane. But I mean, look at this entryway. Of course, the hallmark, you got to go up anywhere from 5 to 9-ish stairs, give or take, always to go into a doorway. Very rarely walk right in at ground level, or even 2 or 3 steps. Sometimes 2 or 3 steps. Look at this. Not to mention the size of these highly polished, whatever they are. Inside the doorway and all of this. It's beautiful. A little bit of better lighting in this shot, just to give us an idea of what we're talking about here. Look at this, kind of very familiar, just like all over the world, everywhere else in the realm. So why would Down Under, way down there, be any different, I guess? Should we be surprised? You would think, with a separate country on a completely different continent, and what we're told is, basically at the bottom of the world, that they would develop their own tastes and styles. Sure, maybe influenced by classics like everybody else, but no. They're so close that they can pass off the buildings as being New York City, 1938 in the film. This is a great shot. It's like the plate had a hole, and they just have some bolts, and they lay it over the bolt, lay it over, the hole over the bolt, thread a nut on it, and there you go. You're off to the races. There it is from street level. And this isn't even the main entrance. It's just one of those side entrances. Yeah, lovely capitals on there and everything. And of course, huge, massive arch. Again, this guy's 6 feet tall, let's say. 1.3 meters tall, this guy. And this thing's what? 30 feet more. I don't know. So here's some stone walls, just like we were seeing in the film, and all of this beautifully carved millwork. All of this, there's a leaf done in wood for you. Just because, the done in stone on the outside of the building is not enough. So we'll remind you once you get inside, in case you didn't see it up on the 20th floor, craning your neck to look up, It's just above the door or the elevator, whatever, these tall ass doors. This door is 15 feet tall, but then there's a transom window above it. Look how tall this door is, and look where the door handle is, which is fancier than hell, by the way. It's beautiful. Look how tall the baseboards are, and they're, again, I'm just going to assume is some kind of stone or marble. I suspect that they actually filmed some of those interior scenes in this building. The ones that they said, no, we built a set. We built this set for these interior scenes of the bad guys building on a soundstage in Los Angeles. We did it to save money or whatever. I don't know. This building has the same name as the other building. It's just in a different city. But that different city happens to be a four-hour flight away in the same country, Australia. Get the fancy elevator lobby here. We've got all of this opulence. I don't even know what these things are that are framed. They look like frescoes in the wall or something. But then they've put a pediment over it, because why not? This reminds me of above that elevator in that scene that we watched, although it's not. It's some kind of fireplace or something that they've jerry-rigged as a fireplace. And then jerry-rigged it again. Look, we messed with this to make it gas fireplace, but then it was deemed unsafe. Why unsafe? Because we messed with it in the first place. So we had to shut down the gas, and now we just have a little electric heater in here now. So all of this fancy work for a piece of crap electric heater that you get at your hardware store back then for like $6. Meanwhile, you have marble walls and all this millwork. Look at this. Colonial Mutual Life Assurance Society Limited. It says June 1923 on it. It looks like 23 to me. There's a winged lady. We saw that on the outside of the other building. Fleur-de-lis in Australia? Why not, I guess. Why would you have to go upstairs to get into this door, by the way, when the doorway is, 15 feet tall? Could it be there used to be a taller door here? Maybe this is where they started splitting, these 20-foot ceilinged floors to, splitting the floor in half and having two 10-foot ceiling floors instead of one 20-foot ceiling floor. I don't know. Look at this, just around the doors. Yeah, exactly. KJ, Kinley Jackson in the box says it's like the banks in Montreal we talked about. Pillars and all. Yeah. Yeah, in the old port, old Montreal, where my auntie used to work. Bank of Montreal in old Montreal. It's like a Greco-Roman. It's like something you'd see in the, the old Roman movies, or Greco-Roman design, like you would see today in, in quote unquote old Europe, Rome or otherwise. Dragon Sage says built for giants. Could very well be in these cases, man. I'm on board with the whole giants thing. And we actually at one point coexisted with giants, maybe even peacefully. And then something happened. Powers who should not be got a stranglehold and launched some kind of race wars versus the giants, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't there. Anybody who says they know They don't know. Shut up. Go sit in a corner. You get a 30-second, no, you get a 5-minute timeout. Sit in a corner. For even suggesting that you know exactly what happened 200 years ago or 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago. The frick out of my face with that. You know what I'm saying? But I agree with you, Ryan. It's absolutely amazing. Oh, yeah, the Burke's Jewelry Building. Yeah, I had another auntie, actually, my mom's sister. She worked for Burke's for a long time, really long time. As a jeweler, like in the back, not selling the jewelry, not on the retail floor. And yeah, that's a beautiful building too. But again, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a beautiful old structure in old Montreal. Jenny Malloy in the box. Howdy, good to see you. Thank you very much. Ross, just throwing us out there. Maybe we developed from giants. Maybe we are all descendants from giants. Maybe the giants had to take cover underground and all the below ground systems, tunnel systems, quote unquote cave systems. More and more they're finding, hey, you could have 30,000 people under here off somewhere in the side of some hill or mountain, so they say, right? Who knows? Fat Bastard says they were possibly resurrected saints with new incorruptible bodies after the rapture happened. Possibly so. So they had to build themselves structures to accommodate their size, men of renown and whatnot. There's a couple of shots of just a few of the little details. This one, it looks like they didn't bugger it up too bad. It's only first stage buggering it up. We'll convert whatever this used to be into a wood-burning fireplace. They didn't do second stage and run gas in here. Then later on, they realized, oh, the natural gas it's not safe now because we used old-timey tubing and so on to bring in the gas. And natural gas is corrosive. So now we can shut her down and put a heater in there. They haven't gotten to that stage yet. But look at this. And then the ceiling medallions. This the inside of the exterior sort of mansard style roof looks like. It's slightly curved. Look at this millwork. Looks like wood to me. Looks like wood grain. This looks like it might have stone in it. I don't know. This could be stone down here. See this? They've put a radiator. Screw it. We'll just put a cast iron forced hot water steam system radiator in this thing instead. It was buggered up. Because it was a fireplace that had a mirror with a wood frame and all this fancy millwork above it. So why would you ever have a wood-burning fire in there? Because it maybe was not a wood-burning fireplace to heat. It was a different type of heating system than we know today, perhaps. Here's your elevator lobby, and here's your elevators. Of course, if you don't want to wait, just take the stairs. There were many buildings in Calgary here, older buildings, that had these style elevators, and then they were modernized to the new modern version. But it's pretty much a monopoly from one elevator company anyway, so what does it matter, right? But I had a friend that lived in an old building here in Calgary called the Anderson. It actually has two wings coming out on an angle, and there's a big tall tower with a copper dome on top of it. And that center sort of tower has got one of these old-timey cage-style elevators, or it used to anyways, because I went to visit him. He was having a little party, a little shindig in his apartment. So you'd slide open the gate, and then there was a fancier door kind of like this that you would open. You'd go in, close the gate, close the door, select your floor, and it would go up. Of course, they had to get rid of that because, unsafe or whatever, even though it had been running fine for about 100 years. Probably just weren't any old timers around that knew how to maintain it anymore, is probably more likely. But even just here in these lower portions under the window, it's beautiful. See some of this brickwork in here. There's another angle of that entrance. Like, is all this necessary? And then to knock it down in 1960. Where did this stuff go? Where did this statue go? Where did these columns go? And these capitals? Where did all this stone go? I mean, they just love repurposing and then relabeling and bastardizing everything. So, they did it to a lot of this stuff. So where did it go? I don't know. No idea. So that kind of ends the file for that. But as mentioned, there are a number of additional photos online. So links below for that. It's museumsvictoria.com/collections. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Dragon Sage says, what a crime to knock it down. Yeah, people look, they do. A center for ants. Stupid Zoolander reference from way to be on top of things. Way to keep your finger on the pulse with the kids with the current event references there, Frankie. Zoolander, a reference from a movie from 25 years ago or whatever. Kind of like this movie, The Phantom. Ryan says no welders yet, not until 20s or so. Yeah, that's right. They used to basically just take big iron beams and bolt them together. Literally giant nuts and bolts, big giant, what we call wrenches, or in the UK, what they call spanners. And eventually they get welding and rivets. It's actually an old trestle bridge, railroad bridge here that I explored that's going to be coming up on Friday. Not a rivet in the whole thing, but thousands and thousands of nuts and bolts. Great big ones, too. So imagine all the labor, all the man hours. Radiators and radium. Similar, indeed. Yeah, that's right, the radium. Which they're saying, oh, it's dangerous. You'll turn into a mutant like the comic books, and then you'll get radiation poisoning, and then you'll get deleted or whatever. You know what I came across online a couple of years back, and I had trouble finding it again. I should remind myself to look for it again. But it was all of these portable heating gadgets from the Victorian era, hand warmers, foot warmers that you would put, on the floor of your horse-drawn carriage going to church on a Sunday in the winter, right? And you would put your feet on top of it, and it was a source of heat. And they were saying, well, you put some hot coals in there. You warm your cold bed, you warm your feet. They had smaller ones for your hands. But I think maybe rather than putting charcoal or coal in them, it was radium. Yeah, maybe that was the thing, KJ. She says Calgary was a nut and bolt factory plus sandstone factory back then. Well, the sandstone thing in Calgary is ridiculous, right? They said that after the Great Calgary Fire of 1886, we lost around a dozen buildings, and depending what source I quote from, They say anywhere from 11 to as high as, I think, 14 buildings. And a lot of them were wooden buildings, although many wooden buildings survived. Go figure that one out. I've even explored one here on the channel. They said, oh, no, after that, now it's strictly, anything that's, if you're building, a one-story bungalow house, it can be wood frame. But, 2-story, 3-story buildings, especially official buildings like post office, a school, whatever, it's got to be brick or sandstone or both. Something that's fireproof. So we'd never have this problem ever again. Even though flooding around here has always been a bigger problem, but that's besides the point. Had like a dozen floods here since the 1870s, but don't worry about that. Just that one fire. So they use that as an excuse to explain all of these sandstone buildings that are made out of massive sandstone blocks in the city. Or some that are made out of a combination of sandstone blocks and red bricks. But supposedly there was only one brick factory. But, and again, depending who I quote and from what source, they say anywhere from a dozen up to 14 or 15 sandstone quarries. The numbers are almost identical for some reason. Between the number of buildings that burnt down and the number of sandstone quarries that sprouted up in the city. Between, the 1890s or 1900-ish, right up until the 20s when they kind of stopped using them. They still quarry sandstone here, but they do it not so much for the big, huge blocks to build with anymore. Now they just embellish newer buildings with sandstone tiles that are about, a couple inches thick and are maybe, they're different sizes. Some are small, 8 by 8 inch. But some of them are 1.5 by 2 feet, and you just back butter them with some kind of mortar and stick it onto hide some brick maybe that shoots down into the ground, perhaps. Yeah, that could be it. They did that to an old building here in my neighborhood, the old lumber building, the A.B. Cushing lumber building. It's funny how his initials are ABC, by the way. Speaking of ABC, since we're talking about movies here quick before I wind it down. The Phantom, not the best movie, but not bad, right? Watch it in black and white. But a movie that I did watch that was excellent was the movie Michael, the Michael Jackson movie, with I think it's his nephew playing Mike, playing grown-up Mike, because there was a kid playing young Mike. First of all, did you know Mike lied about his age? The record guy, I think it was Barry Gordy, when Michael said he was 10, he was like, no, you tell people you're 8. I mean, I guess that's nothing new in show business, lying about their age. Heck, we got people in this chat in the box tonight, this very show, that have been lying about their age. Anyway, excellent movie. Excellent movie. The music's great, of course. Jackson 5 stuff when Mike was a kid. ABC, as easy as 1, 2, 3. As simple as do, re, mi. Excellent. Then Mike's solo stuff, and later Jackson 5 stuff, Mike's solo stuff. His hair catching fire, the Pepsi thing. Getting hooked on all kinds of pills because he was in so much pain from that. Joseph Jackson's daddy whooping his ass. I was like, come on, Joe, take it easy. But it was an excellent movie. And the actress who plays Michael Jackson's mother in the movie is the same actress who played Michael Jackson's girlfriend in the original Thriller video in the 80s from his Thriller album. He turns into a werewolf, and it's set in the 50s, and they go to the movie to see a scary movie and eat popcorn. And he's walking her home, and he turns into a monster himself. The girl played his girlfriend in that video, played his mother in the movie. I was like, get out of here. Really? Yeah, I agree. Michael Jackson was awesome. He was a genius. That's why he had to be stopped. So that's why he had to be smeared and destroyed. They don't really get into that in the movie. They get into some of the controversies about his other weird stuff. his facelifts and, his surgeries on his face and stuff like that. Having a pet giraffe, having a pet monkey, weird shit, man. But you realize why. His childhood was stolen from him by his daddy, who was a son of a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I just read the video for Thriller. It's kind of like a short film, really. Yeah, that chick, that girl. Oh, absolutely. He was the king of pop for sure. I'll go along with that. It was great. He was a genius. Every once in a while, you get one that pops up, and you're like, I'm sorry, it's a genius. I mean, one of Ray Charles' nicknames is genius. Brother Ray, the genius, Ray Charles, But yeah, excellent movie. Excellent. 6 hours here. Good to see you, buddy. Howdy, howdy. Cheers. So yeah, if you're a Michael Jackson fan, I recommend the movie. And you know what? Even if you're not a fan, it's a good movie. PCS World. Of course, we didn't see it in the theater. We had to sail the high seas of digital entertainment piracy. But yeah, really well shot. The kid dances like Mike, looked quite a bit like Mike, sounded quite a bit like Mike. And the little kid that played the young Michael Jackson in the Jackson 5, holy crap, man. I don't know who that kid is, but that kid could sing. I don't know if he's already known, and I just don't know who he is because I don't listen to like modern pop music that much. But ooh-wee, that kid was amazing. The casting on it was really good. The guy who played Joe Jackson, Mikey's dad, yeah, he was excellent. Yeah, well, by the way, Ubu Khan, there in the box. By the way, Ubu, can you please send me, when you have a moment, an email? Oh, that's Phil Henry. I'm sorry. That's Phil Henry. My mistake. I'm confused. I'm sorry, Phil. That's Phil Henry in the box there. Trying to get a hold of Ubu Khan, but I don't have his email address or anything. Sorry, my mistake, sir. Yeah, but not to be confused with that Mikey. Yeah. Hey, Mikey, he likes it. No, Mikey won't like it. PCS World, no. He hates everything. But yeah, no, it was very good. Very good movie. But of course, it's approved by, the family and Jackson's estate and all that. So they're not going to have the weird accusation stuff. Otherwise it would be like a 5-hour movie. I think more and more people are coming to realize that Sony Music forced him to settle on that very, very first accusation way back in the 80s. Right? Because you got to get out there and tour, promote that album, Mike. And he's like, yeah, let me just take care of this shit first in court. And they're like, no, you're going to settle. And then you're going to get out there and dance and smile and make that money for us. Threatened him with all kinds of breach of contract shit and stuff that would have cost him more. They made it, obviously, right? And then his handlers say, look, man, it's going to be cheaper to settle than to fight Sony Music. And then that just opens the floodgates for every weirdo to come out of the woodwork. You want a good perspective on it? Watch a Dave Chappelle stand-up where he talks about all this Michael Jackson stuff. These people that are accusing Mike of doing this stuff. I got to watch what I say, not so much, again, for Rumble, but for HooTubes. But, Mike being accused of certain things by certain people. It's like, wait a second. Did you have, like, leukemia or something? Or, like, weren't you some kid that was dying of some disease? Here we are 10 years later. You're taking Mike to court over something. Like, how are you still? I thought you were dying, kid. You're still alive? Obviously, Dave Chappelle, the maestro, do a much better job of it than me, but that's basically the gist of it. Anyway, I better quit while I'm ahead here on that. So I'm getting ready to wind this thing down here very shortly. I'm going to forego the funny little clips at the end of the show just to keep you informed as to a few projects that are coming up fastly and furiously. Of course, my director's cut relaunch of my documentary, Reset 1700, my mudflood documentary, that was yanked from YouTube by YouTube. And I was given I had to spend a little bit of time in purgatory as a result. The director's cut of that coming up here in a few weeks. So if you haven't already, again, do all the things down here so you can keep your peepers peeled on when that's coming up. You know, the notifications that actually don't work. So it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Not a big deal.
Shenanigans.
Anyways, as well as I'm working on a few slightly longer form videos, shorter than the live streams, but longer than, you know, my 10 to 20 minute boots on the ground videos. You know, maybe more like 20 to 30 minute videos where I discuss theories regarding subjects that may be specific to a certain building here in Calgary or up here in Canada in general. Stuff that's been brought to my attention from some of you good people out there. PBH in the box over on Rumble. Speaking of Rumble, Frankie Fingers over here. Good to see you. Hello, hello. There's something that Cousin Vinny brought to my attention a while back. We were kind of batting it back and forth. So that's going to be coming up as well. You know, and some other stuff. The Calgary Stampede, the world's largest rodeo, 10 days of rootin' tootin' Wild West fun here in Calgary, Alberta, is coming up just after the July long weekend, Independence Day long weekend, July 4th in the United States, and July 1st up here in Canada. So I'm going to be doing some boots on the ground as related to the official his story as regards to cowboys and stuff up here in Calgary. Boots on the ground of a few areas that are associated with rodeo cowboy here in the city's his story, the official narrative, as well as live stream. It lasts 10 days, so it'll be like a couple of boots on the ground videos and at least one live stream where we'll look at some interesting Wild West narrative. I bet you didn't think Calgary up in Canada was having these massive rodeos, did you? Yep. We're talking bronco busting, chuck wagon races, barrel racing, steer wrestling. I don't know, some locals and Calgarians up here, they can't stand it. I kind of like it, even though I know it's an overblown version. Basically a Hollywood movie version of our actual his story out here in the New West, in the prairies, and out here in Alberta. But historically there is, there's, cattle ranches, cowboys, and Indigenous Native Canadians, and buffalo and all that stuff. Yeah. But I think there's a lot more going on, and we could get into that over the next couple of weeks as well. So there you go. I think that is going to do it. Again, links below for everything we covered on the show. Thank you very much once again for being here, winding down your weekend, and enjoying some of, the
Horse shit!
that we look into here on the live show. And I like this series. It's fun. We can still tackle some serious subject matter, the lies that have been perpetrated, the alterings of dates, build dates and times and places, fudged photographs and so on and so forth. But we can do it in sort of a bubble of a little bit of a funner atmosphere when we look at it through the lens of a film camera, a movie film camera. Or even when we do the other series, the Old World in Music, when we check out clues in the blues. We get to check out some old-timey blues music and see if there's any secrets woven into the song lyrics, or any hints at least. Maybe not necessarily secrets, but hints of what things actually were like. And I think with some of these movies, it's the same thing. You look what's going on in the background behind what the actors are doing to distract you. Bread and circuses. But what's going on in the background oftentimes is very intriguing. And if you just take a little bit of a poke around, you can find some interesting stuff. May not answer your question, but maybe one more piece of the jigsaw puzzle that we're trying to work on together. And with that, that is going to seal the deal here today for Frankie. New West Reset and New West Reset Live, episode 176, The Old World on Celluloid. And again, on this one, we looked at 1996's movie, The Phantom. It's not the best movie. Watch it in black and white instead. It's much improved that way. So until the next one, take care out there. Have yourselves a good one. We'll see you Friday for Boots on the Ground. Saturday on the second channel, New West Rewind, for some old-timey footage. And back here next Sunday for the live show. Happy Father's Day to you. Happy summer solstice. And take care. Cheers.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.